Chess as a tool for development of preschool children. I teach chess lessons at primary school, included in the core curriculum for the learners of the 1st to 4th year streams. I observe a decline in learnability level of today's children. In a regular school, the distribution of pupils in terms of learnability is 50 to 50. There are many reasons for this situation. The first cause is neurological, insufficient blood inflow and outflow in children's cerebral vessels already from the fertile period onwards. The percentage of such children suffering from hypoxia during fetal development is increasing. These children show reduced visual perception detailing. The stability of visual images is also reduced in these children due to poor coordination of visual motor bonds. Many such children suffer right hemispheric overload because of the immaturity of interhemispheric bonds between the right and left hemispheres of the brain, which results in distorted energy distribution, leading to impaired self-regulation. In the conditions of intellectual stimulation, such children begin to develop tics such as frequent eye blinking or mouth twitching. The second reason is the changed conditions of modern kids' childhood. It has become more comfortable and safe, but today's children are less independent. Therefore, in this overprotection environment, children are subject to reduced load on logical spatial structures and their use. They lose need for independent orientation and exploratory activities. Such conditions reduce motivation for achievements and self-development in lots of children. The third reason is excessive verbal component in the learning process, since the school seeks to adapt to the peculiarities of the modern child population. Excessive verbal component is known to be a sign of compensation for insufficient development of the visual centers in charge of formation of logical spatial structures. Poor long-term memory is a consequence of this deficiency. This gives rise to a negative effect when knowledge is not transformed into skills, but leaks off like water into sand. A regrettable situation takes place. A learner spends a great deal of energy on memorizing educational material, but this doesn't add comprehension or confidence. If the conditions of a learning assignment are changed, the pupil is taken in. The second scenario is when a pupil imitates the learning process, while he or she is busy doing other things. A legitimate question therefore arises. What can be done to develop the logical spatial structures and their regular use in children as early as before the school education? The answer to this question has already been found. Experts in many countries have noted a positive impact of chess on preschool children. This school year, I have had an opportunity to apply my methodology to preschool children. I work with children aged from 5 to 6.5 twice a week for 30 minutes. Most of them are children aged 5.5 years old. The number of children in the groups is below 15. When I started working with them, I observed all the signs I wrote above. After working with them for a month, I saw positive dynamics in many children in terms of improved hand-eye coordination and perception of chessboard lines. It appeared that after I had trained them to help themselves to trace the lines with their fingers as pointers, the children stopped slipping off the line and their attention improved. Therefore, it seems to be obvious that it is possible to improve the cerebral logical spatial structures and to increase differentiated visual perception. A reasonable question is how I managed to cope with the fidgeters and spark their interest in the game of chess. I brought the chess pieces to life and told the children about the motivation of the main characters, using the language of imagery that children could understand. It turned out that all the characters, just like children, like ice cream and biscuits. Therefore, it was not difficult to teach children the game in which they take turns with each other to collect treats through the rook's move and then compare who has more of them. For me, this stage is diagnostic. I carefully observe the children's game and teach the finger-pointed technique to those who slip from one line to another in one rook's move. If the children learn this technique quickly, it is a good sign. Once I had a young pupil aged about 5, who was good at observing horizontals but failed with verticals. This is a sign of inadequate blood supply caused by artery constriction in the cervical spine vertebra. Do you think a chess pedagogue should pay attention to such nuances in child's playing? Or he/she should just teach chess to children? When a child wears glasses, I try to find out the reason from his or her parents. A common reason for wearing glasses by small children is astigmatism, which makes it very difficult to pick out and visually hold the chessboard lines. In this case, I have such a child playing on a large demonstration board. A month or two is sufficient to compensate for this defect with the healthy eye and to build a geological spatial structure. In this connection, I recall the words of a well-known personality. Who cares how to teach chess to children? The rook moves the same way anyway. In this context, there have been recent attempts to fire me for not working under the Russian presidential manuals, with that figure's portrait in the manual for first-year pupils. Subsequently, they changed their mind about dismissing me, because there is a shortage of teachers who know properly how to teach chess at school. The signs of appearance and due functioning of the logical spatial structure in children from the age of 5 are represented primarily by the level of mastering a confident move with different chess pieces. Mastering the rook's move triggers the process of actualization of the structure in children. I therefore teach children all basic chess operations, such as the move, attack, capture, defense, exchange, using the rook move as an example. Successful mastery of the bishop's move is a sign of good functioning of the logical spatial structure. Successful mastery of the pawn's move is a sign of good detailing within the structure. The queen's move means generalized conceptualization of all linear pieces' moves and is a sign of good organization of visual perception in contrast to the initial chaos. Successful mastery of the attacking knight's move is evident of the ability to assimilate the algorithm of action. Therefore, game exercises and tasks close to game situations supplement to the main presentation. I would like to present to your attention a part of a lesson on solving chess problems taught to the children aged 5. The children, each of them, array the following position on their boards. The white rook is on f4 and the white bishop is on d6. The stones that are supposed to act as obstacles are on a2 and b3. The castle is on square b1. The sleeping rooks which do not move, but which can beat the white pieces if the latter move under their strike, are on c1 and c2. The whites start and strive to capture the castle. Using suggestive questions, I help the children to analyze the situation and bring them to the solution of the problem. The first question: which of the white pieces can get into the castle? The bishop, the children answer. I help to clarify the situation and show them that the castle is on a white square while the bishop is on a black square. Therefore, the bishop cannot get into the castle. Still, which of the white pieces can you get into the castle? I ask the children again. Since the white have only 2 pieces, it is logical to assume that it is the white rook that can get into the castle. This time the children answer my question correctly. Which rank is the castle on? The castle is in the first rank, the children answer. Let us move the white rook to the first rank, I suggest to the children. They agree, and everyone makes the same move on their boards. Who will wake up and win our rook? The sleeping rook will capture our rook. I suggest that the children show this move on their boards. The children do it and make sure that it is not worth moving under the sleeping rook's strike. Let us make a backward move and think about who is preventing our rook from getting into the castle. The sleeping rook, the children answer. What should we do then? We should capture it, right? Which piece shall we capture it with? The bishop. Let us attack the sleeping rook with the bishop. The bishop attacks the rook, meanwhile not getting under a strike itself. The children take an attacking move with the bishop from d6 to a3, after which they capture the sleeping rook on c1. This leads to the second sleeping rook on c2 waking up and capturing the bishop. The children move to the blank second rank with the white rook on f2. Then they proceed to b2 and enter the castle on b1. Naturally, children of 5 years old will not be able to solve such problems independently. but they will be able to do it together with an adult, since this skill is in the zone of 5-year-old's imminent development. The next stage will be the time of reflexive consolidation of this algorithm, helping the children to recognize the obstacles preventing to achieve the goal and to find a way to overcome this difficulty. This method is based on the theory of proximal development zone developed by famous psychologist Vygotsky. Preparing my assignments, I also used Suhin's ideas about gradual complication of chess material for the development of children's mental activity. According to Piaget's theory of formation of sensory-motor intellection, it is necessary to start with the visual, figurative method of presenting information and proceed to the mental picture only after that. Thus, by approaching the issue in the creative manner, I managed to construct a methodology where chess is a means of mental development of children aged 5-7 years and above. The algorithm of action. Therefore, game exercises and tasks close to game situations are necessary to achieve a good pace. The whole content of the introductory chess course is contained in my tales, Adventures of Babe Lou in the Chess Mirror World, and Alex's Adventures in the Chess Kingdom. They are published in the Russian language on the Amazon platform. In English, they are implemented in the logicboard.com interactive program. All the positions have separate links to the editor. The child's entire work under the assignment is saved, and there is an opportunity to share this work with the pedagogue via a link. Therefore, if it is not possible to use the computer at the lesson with a group of children, then it is possible to assign additional tasks in the form of links to this program in order to practice the covered material. The lesson structure consists of 3 parts. At the beginning, I read a short chapter from the tale. Then the children resolve a number of situations connected with the tale content. At the end, they act out fun exercises similar to the situations in which the tale characters act. This way, the children empathize with the characters and try to achieve the learning goals. The tale Adventures of Babe Lou in the Chess Mirror World has a moral which is expressed in the following idea. Try not to fall under the influence of evil in order not to turn into a sleeping zombie who is programmed only for destruction or will be destroyed himself. The tale has a happy ending. Using a crystal, it became possible to unspell the Dark Lord, who recollected that he was a brother of the Chess Mirror World's custodian. He repented and promised his brother to serve the good. By the end of the tale, all the characters realized the value of their family and understand that no differences will stop them from loving each other. So the main goal of teaching chess to preschool children is to develop their understanding of logical spatial relations. Such relations form a structure keeping the traces of active searching and finding a solution matching the purpose of the learning task. Therefore, part of my methodology is advice to the parents of my young learners. It sounds like this. Don't teach your children chess. Instead, ask them to teach you the games they played in the class. By doing this, the children try to remember what they did at the lesson. This kind of work revives the traces of past activity, which contributes to the development of long-term memory responsible for spatial relations. This type of memory is a basis for presenting a situation. Owing to this, an understanding of the presented situation is shaped. The paradox is that if one has understood something, he or she does not need to remember it, but it is very important to recall and use this situation regularly. This mechanism is the core of my technology of working with children. It represents developing a logical spatial structure of a universal nature. The presence of this structure enables a pupil to distribute energy sparingly and to enhance learnability owing to the increased internal activity of the visual spatial zones functioning in the cerebral cortex. This serves as a contrast to external verbal activity, which only signifies but doesn't retain memory of spatial relations. This way, the principal goal of preparing young children for future school education is achieved.